Hey mi gente, sean bienvenidos a esto que llamo Fantasiciro y como pueden ver pues por ahí un video más de Genshin Impact. Y antes de comenzar le quiero enviar un saludo a Sebas de Gamer. Bro, gracias como siempre por ver los videos, por comentar y pues por estar ahí presente. Y no te preocupes por eso. Espero que te guste el video que subí hace un rato donde sacamos a 20 en el gachapón. Solamente que en el primer intento apenas salió este banner, pues todavía no lo he agregado al grupo, pero pues lo voy a agregar. Estoy tratando de subirle un poco de nivel y de aumentar un poco las cosas que le vamos a agregar, ¿ok? Y pues nada, les recuerdo a todos que si no se han suscrito, que se suscriban y activen la campanita para que YouTube les avise cuando suba un nuevo video, y que si le dan al botón me gusta me ayudarían demasiado. Además de que si quieren un solo de mi parte, lo único que tienen que hacer es comentar este video o cualquiera de mis videos y en el próximo video los saludaré. Y les recuerdo que por acá o por acá va a haber una alerta con la lista de reproducción de esta serie del primer capítulo hasta este capítulo en el que vamos, ¿ok? Y ya nos falta poquito para subir al rango de aventura 40. Pero bueno, vamos hoy a centrarnos más que todo no en esta misión, sino que vamos a centrarnos en... Oh, espérate. 30 gemitas, me dan un punto para mejorar. Ojo, no, hay que hacer este. Tranquilo, bien, Liyue. También tengo que hacer esto, pero lo primordial va a ser esta. Vamos a ver qué tal nos va con esta. No sé, es que quería hacer las misiones que tenemos por otro lado. Pero bueno, también tengo que hacer esta. Ok, si me voy a tirar de aquí. Eh, planeando. Sí, es que se me enreda un poco. Pues tomando agüita, más saludable. Y me imagino que será en este, donde hubo la caída de Rex Lápiz. Uy, ya no hay cámara de Jade. Que no la alcanzamos a explorar del todo. Es algo triste. Me hubiera gustado explorarla un poco más. Pero ni modo. Ah, yo juraría que era aquí, pero bueno. Este cofrecito no lo había visto por acá. Bueno, estos cofres es que dan... ¿Qué más esas? Mempo. Empleada de la funeraria El Camino. Y a ver qué nos dice esto.
I'm afraid that Wangsheng funeral parlor isn't in the best state to receive guests.
We've come to see Zhongli. Could you please tell him we're here?
Unfortunately, Zhongli isn't here at the moment. It seems he went to Northland Bank.
Doesn't the Northland Bank belong to the Fatui? Last time we saw Zhongli was before we went to the Golden House. Do you think he doesn't know about the attack on Liyue? Visiting the Fatui at a time like this could only mean more trouble. We had better go and make sure that everything is okay.
Si visitar a la Fatui en estos momentos después de ese golpe que dieron, es nada bueno. Pues es un punto para llegar rápido. Ah, es que está hacia el lado. Es que hay un cofrecito por acá y hay que coger todos estos cofrecitos. Ahí. Y vamos aquí. Esperemos que esté bien Zhongli. Uno nunca sabe.
You call this cooperation between harbingers. Cooperation involves communication, you know.
Don't take it to heart, child. Besides, aren't you happy that you got to skip the formalities and bring chaos to the land? I'm sure you must have enjoyed that. Oh, it seems that some of your friends have arrived.
Hey, it's Zhongli and Child. And you're also one of the
Esta fue la que le
harbingers?
quitó el Geomis, o bueno, como sea que llame, a Ventin. Es Signora.
It's you
Signora.
two. I believe we've met once before. In the city of Bards, was it? I'm glad you still remember my name. Ah, right. I imagine that it must have been rather hard to forget watching helplessly as something precious was snatched away from your friend.
Respira, mantén la calma. Todavía puedo recuperarla. Sí. ¿Tirarme a mantener la calma o todavía puedo recuperarla? Voy a mantener la calma.
If it isn't you two. This is our first time seeing each other since Liyue was nearly wiped off the map. This is certainly a bit awkward, wouldn't you say?
Son dos y
Paimon knew
no
that we
soy
should
capaz.
never have trusted a Fatui Harbinger.
Oh, now don't say that. Sure, I may have misled you, but I never had anything against you personally. Besides, I thought we were getting along quite well together, didn't you? Except for that little tussle we had at the end.
Pequeña.
Nothing personal. We just have different views, that's all. Of course, you may very well hold this against me, but that's up to you. The real deceivers here are Senora and Zhongli. Curse them for leading me on.
Nobile fue engañado por Zhongli, Señora y Zhongli.
So actually, I think...
Stop wasting time, child. There'll be plenty of time to chat once I'm through here. You remember the agreement, Morax. Now, if you would be so kind. The Gnosis, please.
Ah, es Genosis. De acuerdo, la Genosis. De acuerdo.
What in the world are you talking about?
The contract is fulfilled. That which thou seeketh is now bestowed unto thee.
No me digas.
For my promise is solid as stone.
Zhongli es Red Lápiz. Eso no fue una de las que le quitaron.
Sanctimonious.
Eso, entonces Zhongli es Red Lápiz, justo como pensaba.
What? So you're the Lord of Chio?
Hmm.
No, wait. That's an exciting twist and all, but why give the Gnosis to the Fatui?
I do not give it for free. I give it as agreed upon in the contract. For it is a matter solely between the Tsaritsa and I.
Me temo que no entiendo. ¿Y por qué fingiste tu muerte? ¿Y por qué fingiste tu muerte?
Yeah, you don't think you went a little bit too far with that whole fake death thing? Everyone was preparing the ceremony for you and splat! This big dragon falls out of the sky and all of Liyue goes into an uproar. Talk about a disaster.
Gathering all the forces that had been bubbling behind the scenes, and then stirring them together in a pot that was bound to boil over. That's what he wanted to see, am I right?
Wait, what?
Perhaps it's best that I explain. As you know, I've dwelt upon this world for more than 6,000 years. I witnessed the founding of Liyue, together with the Adepti 3,700 years ago. Even boulders that can withstand whirlpools will erode with the passing of time. I kept convincing myself that cracks had not begun to form, and that the end of my time had not yet come. Until one drizzly day, as I was strolling along the harbor, I heard a merchant tell one of his workers, "You've finished your duties. Go ahead and call it a day." I stood motionless among the crowds, asking myself, have I already finished my duties?
Oh, Zhongli.
But as I began to consider relinquishing my divine role, I soon discovered that many reasons still remained to not hastily depart. Was Liyue, the city I had dwelt in for so long, already prepared to enter its next age? I decided that a test was needed in order to reveal the answer. So I feigned my own death, and gathered the cast of Child, the Adepti, and the Liyue Chising to play their roles together on the stage that was Liyue.
Está satisfecho con el resultado, pero ¿y si todo hubiera terminado en un desastre? ¿Tenías otro plan?
That's right, which is why I continued to safeguard the Gnosis until now.
Y lo va a entrar así de fácil.
That if the chaos ever reached the point of no return, you would simply appear and use your divine powers to bring Liyue back under control?
Of course, and it would have been all too easy for him too. Just as a child quickly matures after losing their parents, so has Liyue matured when faced with the death of its deity.
I was pleasantly surprised with the finale of the show that you all put on. Why?
Pues claro,
you
si
even
nosotros
deserved an encore.
intervinimos.
The Adepti deserve the greatest applause, considering their years of seclusion. They hardly recognized the city, yet faced with such a crisis, they exerted the greatest amount of restraint. Not only did they manage to cooperate with the Chising, but in the end, they even tried to understand the heart of the people.
Mal
And
hecho,
hats
Rex
off to the
Lapis.
emissary dispatched by the Cryo Archon to fulfill our contract, Signora. She managed to keep everything she knew in strict confidence, far from the eavesdropping ears of her colleague Child, just as I had requested. All the while, I carried on as Zhongli, and fulfilled the traditions of Liyue in this mortal form. Thank you for walking that path with me, traveler.
Pues no me
These things
parece.
were all a part of my script. The only unforeseen plot twist was the conduct of the Liyue Chising. I had expected them to do no more than the Adepti, to come to the defense of Liyue. But when all was said and done, they seized the opportunity to supplant Liyue's divine protectors, and used the subsequent power vacuum left by my death to quickly gain complete control of Liyue.
Huh? That doesn't sound good at all.
On the contrary, I think it is excellent. I had always feared that it was too soon for them to take over from me, and it was also that which I longed for the most. As such, this is the best parting gift anyone could have given this god of old.
Hey, what about me? Doesn't anyone feel the least bit of remorse for deceiving me?
No, para
You
nada.
practically kept me in the dark.
Después de la pelea, nada.
I think that thanks would be more appropriate. You certainly played no small part in all of this, wreaking havoc and turning the city upside down. The Lord of Geo ought to thank you for your performance, if anything. If you hadn't created the pressure of a battle between mortals, Adepti, and a god, the lump of coal resting in the hands of the Geo Archon, Liyue,
Claro.
would never have been able
Lo
to
ven
become
así
a
de simple
dazzling
todo.
diamond of a city.
Huh? Just whose side are you on, mocking me like that? Are you itching for a fight?
Fuimos igualmente engañados. Vergüenza me daría estar en tu posición. Fuimos igualmente.
Be that as it may, you've come out of this as the hero of Liyue. I, on the other hand, will be forever prescribed as a disturber of the peace, no?
Well then, with the Gnosis in my possession, I have no use for such idle chatter. We should return to Zapoljarny Palace and seek an audience with Her Majesty, the Tsaritsa. Come, child.
Ah, fine. I'll meet you there later. I'm not sharing a boat with the likes of you.
Do as you wish.
O sea que ya tienen tres con la de ella
Now
misma.
then, is there anything else you wish to ask me?
Yo te doy el Arconte crío a cambio de tu gen. ¿Qué precio podría pagarse a cambio de una genosis?
Right! As Zhongli always told us, a good trade is a fair trade. Paimon has no idea what could be a good trade for a Gnosis.
Realistically speaking, there is no such thing.
Huh?
However, I am the god of contracts. For thousands of years, I have made countless contracts. If the deal was of no benefit, then I certainly would not be inclined to agree to it. My agreement with the Cryo Archon will be the last of my contracts as the Geo Archon. My contract to end all contracts. As for the bargaining chip that the Tsaritsa used to balance the scales, uncover that answer for yourself in your future journeys.
No, pues todo lo que me dijiste es... Con eso me dijo demasiado, uff. Me sorprende todo lo que me dijo este... Para no decir nada más. Pinche Arconte Geo. Bueno, ¿cuál seguirá el poder que obtendremos ahora? Porque ya me imagino que ya por acá en Liyue ya no hay mucho más por hacer.
Today's the day of the rite of parting. Although the star of the show is fake, we spent so much time trying to organize it, it would be a real shame not to go there now.
Que todo fue una mentira. Necesito que recargue. Flor de seda.
Well, since we're going through with this rite of parting, I guess it means that those rumors hit the nail on the head.
So Rex Lapis is really... But they didn't catch the culprit, did they?
Oh, come on. Do you think that the assassin could have been a normal person? You know what I think? I don't think any of the gossip on the streets you hear from those shady types is worth anything. There's only one real possibility in my mind. I've heard that the assassin was that Fatui fellow. Youngish, pretty high in rank. I think they called him Child.
Fatui? They certainly are very suspicious. Who knows what those greedy, crooked folks...
Lower your voice. If the Fatui catch you in their sights, Rex Lapis won't be around to protect you this time.
Y sí, si son rastreros y pueden decir más de ellos.
You know that god from the ocean couldn't have just shown up out of nowhere. I mean, it's been 2,000 years since Rex Lapis subdued it.
Yes, and to think that this happened right on the heels of the incident with Rex Lapis, too.
Say, do you think the person who assassinated our lord and released that evil god might have been one and the same?
Now that you
Si
mention
supieran
it,
que
that's
está vivo
very
todavía.
possible. Yes, it's very possible indeed. I mean, it all fits together. That person must have colluded with the evil god to harm Rex Lapis. Oh, that wicked, black-hearted scoundrel. Still, what sort of supernatural prowess must this person possess to be able to do such things? I have never heard of such a person in all my years.
Ah, forget it. Guessing's no use to us. Look, the Millilith over there looks like he's about to make an announcement. Let's hear what the Ministry of Civil Affairs has to say first.
En fin.
Hear ye all, the Chi sings words.
¿Cuáles son
Though a
sus palabras?
dragon soars ageless as the mountains, it too must return to dust. This is common knowledge. Gods and Adepti live glorious lives, but both light and shadow have their season. So too must they face divinely appointed trials. Rumors and hearsay abound on the streets that Rex Lapis was murdered. Now, let the truth be revealed. Having been thwarted in his trial, Rex Lapis's soul has recouped the celestial heights. He beseeches the people of Liyue to grieve not, and to let not their hearts be saddened. Nor are they to believe street-born rumors, or indulge in baseless speculation.
Paimon needs a translation on what the Chising's announcement said.
Dijeron que Rex Lapis no fue asesinado. Dijeron que Rex Lapis fue juzgado. Dijeron que Rex Lapis no fue
So
asesinado.
that's how they're spinning it. Something feels off. Why would they suddenly give up looking for the murderer? Not to mention how this excuse sounds like something they just made up on the spot. Could the Chising already have known that Rex Lapis wasn't dead? But Zhongli said that neither they nor the Adepti knew anything. Did Zhongli tell them in secret after his gnosis changed hands?
Puede ser, creo que esta vez has dado en el blanco. Puede ser.
Exactly, right? Ooh, seems like the rite of parting has been going on for a while now. Let's go have a look.
El pendejo rito, todo lo que tuvimos que dar para ese rito.
Look, it's Ningguang and Keqing. Are they saying something? Are their speeches over?
As said previously, Rex Lapis's soul returning to the heavens is the end of the contract. And it is also the end of an era.
3,700 years of contracts burnt and reduced to ash.
We, the people of Liyue, were indeed prosperous. But blinded by our prosperity, we forgot that time can be pitiless.
The long, unending dream of our Archon walking among us.
Now that we have awoken from our dream, we must learn to say farewell. Will you stand with us as we re-establish our contracts? As we build a new age of prosperity?
So concludes the words of Her Eminence the Tianquan. Does Her Eminence the Yuheng have anything to add?
Huh? Is she looking this way?
Traveler.
Yikes! She really is looking our way!
Is that the traveler who they say defeated the ancient god?
So young. The Liyue Chising always repay their debts. And as you have heard, our eyes see far and our reach is long. Name your price. You deserve that much.
Whoa!
Well, could you help me put up some missing person posters?
El de la hermana, me imagino.
As for the mortals and Adepti of Liyue, what shape shall our relationship take from now
Ni
on?
idea.
And to think I'd put my best perfume on before coming here, thinking you'd like it.
Esta
But it
sigue
seems
con
as if
sus
those
locuritas.
perfumes really were meant to be offered to Rex Lapis.
Sí.
Well, that's fine. Suffer no rivals in love, they say. And that's 3 gone in 1 stroke.
Que mía, esta tipa me asusta, de verdad. Y Shito.
Ah, Rex Lapis. Rex Lapis. Now that I think about it, if everyone's of the same mind as me, perhaps mementos for Rex Lapis might be the best short-term business opportunity.
Los souvenirs. ¿Y dónde está ese güey? Ah, ya lo vi. Ah. Me olvidé que había un hueco. Zhongli.
Hey, Zhongli! Look at this. Everyone in Liyue is caught up in their emotions, thinking that they'll never see Rex Lapis again. And here you are looking all relaxed.
Why would I not feel more at ease after laying down the burden I have borne for 3,700 years? Right. If the two of you can spare the time, I should treat you to a meal at the Shinya kiosk.
Pues sí, le acepto la comida.
That sounds like big talk, Zhongli. Paimon might have believed you if you were treating us to some third-round knockout, but you'd have to pay out your nose just to stand inside Shinya kiosk. Are you sure you can afford it?
You're right. I do like the Mora.
Veo que no ha cambiado nada. ¿Cómo es posible que Morax no tenga ni un Mora?
As the Rex Lapis Morax, I can easily create Mora. But since I have chosen to walk this earth as the mortal Zhongli, I should abide by the same rules that mortals do. When I was journeying with you, though I still had the Gnosis in hand, I knew that I must soon retire from my role as an Archon, so I had to rehearse a little.
Claro, no le parecía porque pagaba todo lo que le hicieran.
Wonder. Paimon gets it now. You didn't look at the price tags when we were spending because you've never had to. But since you weren't used to not being able to just make more Mora as and when you wanted to, you had to try becoming a parasite to
Pues sí,
society
la verdad es que
who
sí.
lives off of other people's credit.
Well, we were only spending Fatui money. You don't have to say it like that. In the City of Commerce, we do not merely exchange money or goods. We also exchange knowledge, memories, and foresight, as well as positions, roles, and lives. The Archon Morax could never experience life as the true mortal Zhongli could, no matter how many times he descended to be with his people. I must thank you for that.
No, a mí no me agradezca
I
nada.
will treasure the memories that I made as Zhongli, traveling the streets of Liyue with you.
Un buen viaje.
That is true. But there is no journey that does not end. No meetings without partings.
Paimon thinks that we should make a move and continue our search for the Seven.
I fear that continuing your journey may be difficult. The nation that neighbors Liyue by sea, Inazuma, is presently closed.
Cerrada. ¿Quién es el dios que gobierna Inazuma?
The Electro-Archon
Oh.
And just as the people of Liyue preferred to call me Rex Lapis, she too goes by another name among locals in Inazuma.
Paimon thinks we've heard that one before. Raiden?
That is the case. And since Raiden is also the shogun of the Inazuma Bakufu, people call her the Raiden Shogun.
El Bakufu de Inazuma. La Shogun. La Shogun.
That said, though people at the wharf were saying that the situation in Inazuma is very tense, Paimon doesn't remember that always being the case. It wasn't that bad last year. Zhongli, since you're Rex Lapis, shouldn't you know something about what's happening there? Just how did Inazuma become a closed nation?
It's because of visions.
Visions?
When faced with circumstances beyond their control, humans often bemoan their lack of power. But if a person shows true strength of will at a desperate and fateful moment in their life, the gods will look upon them with favor. This is what visions are. Magical foci bestowed upon those who have been acknowledged by the gods.
Uh-huh. That's how people in Teyvat see it.
But starting from last year, the Raiden Shogun began promulgating the Vision Hunt Decree.
Vision Hunt Decree?
Yes. It was an order to seize all visions within Inazuma's borders, and to inlay them upon the hands of a statue of the 1,000-armed, 100-eyed god.
They want to seize visions. But why? Aren't visions blessings from the gods?
I should think that in the Raiden Shogun's eyes, It is precisely because they are divine blessings that they should be under the sole dominion of divinity.
Solamente que porque son... Ay, hombre.
The Animo Archon is the god of freedom, and the Geo Archon is the god of contracts. For her part, the Raiden Shogun is the god of eternity. It seems as though she has finally decided to eliminate any unstable elements that could pose a threat to her eternal realm. The fact that even I, the oldest of the seven, have now passed away will only strengthen her resolve to pursue eternity. Knowing her, she must have again quoted that adage she is most fond of when proclaiming that decree to her people. 7 ideals for 7 gods, and of these, eternity is nearest unto heaven.
¿El cielo?
All right then. Was there anything else you wish to know?
Listo. ¿Qué hay de ese juicio?
Ah, that was a good one. Failing a divine trial. How they came up with that excuse, I will never know. That said, the reason why the Qixing were so eager to resolve the incident and stop pursuing the culprit was indeed because they received news in secret that Rex Lapis was not dead. I hinted as much to the Adepti as well. How did I accomplish that, you ask? Have you ever heard of this particularly convenient Adepti art known as gifting dreams and visions? All right then. Was there anything else you wish to know?
Ningún. ¿Qué pasó con Nobil?
Yeah, about that. Before the Qixing made their announcement, we listened to a lot of people talking on the way. Most of them put the blame for everything on Child.
These are indeed false accusations. But it remains undeniably true that Child did send people to the Jade Chamber to prevent the Adepti and the Qixing from defeating the ancient god. I've heard that Ningguang is busy milking that for all it's worth on the foreign relations front at the moment, browbeating the envoys of the Fatui. Ha! Those poor Snezhnayan diplomats. If it were not for Child's exalted position as a harbinger, I'm certain that they would have shifted all the blame to him and called for his dismissal by now. All right then. Was there anything else you wish to know?
¿Qué hay de las 7 estrellas de Liu?
The time of the Adepti has long passed. If even the Liyue Qixing don't want to face that truth, then what future is there for Liyue? Kuching is absolutely right in saying this. Now, though I did laud Ningguang's desire for power, believing this to be a good thing, and thought as a matter of course that she must have been behind the Qixing's plan to take governing power over Liyue from the hands of the gods and Adepti. Could the original person who brought up the idea of seizing power have been...
Yeah.
All right then. Was there anything else you wish to know?
Sobre el Mora.
That's right. Zhongli, now that you don't have your gnosis, what's going to happen to all the Mora in Teyvat? Since Morax is dead, are they all just gonna disappear? Also, isn't the Golden House the only mint in the entire continent? Will it even continue to work?
The Mora present now will not vanish. But the Golden House will indeed have to cease operations for a lengthy period of time, since creating Mora requires the use of the Geo Archon's power.
This is terrible! We're all about to run out of Mora! The world is coming to an end!
Yes, this is indeed a major issue from a financial standpoint. Well, I suppose we'll just leave such troublesome matters to the Liyue Qixing to debate.
Then, did you at least set some private funds aside for yourself?
Oh, a private fund. This does seem like a good, logical, common
Apenas lo
sense
vino a
idea.
pensar.
It's a shame.
What's a shame?
It's a shame that I didn't think of it at the time.
Ya me lo imaginaba.
All right then. Was there anything else you wish to know?
Es todo por ahora.
Well then, I suppose you'll have to find a way to get inside this closed nation. Have patience.
Ay, hombre.
I suspect that some serendipity must first come into play.
No me agrada eso. Una nueva estrella en ascenso. Bueno. Hablo con Caterina. Parece ser tu primera aventura. Tiene algo para decir. Ok. Vamos también. Es por nada, pero me agrada tener estas misiones secundarias ya listas para realizar. ¿Cómo voy a escribir mi tesis así? ¿Qué hago? ¿Estás bien? Pues, eres tú, ¿me recuerdas? Es la persona que encontraste en una jaula de los ladrones de tesoros en el paso del Linjo. Gracias por salvarme. ¿Qué te trae por aquí? Después de que me rescataste, fue a ver a Soraya en la pasada Guanshu. Tuve suerte y la pude encontrar allí. Soraya es tan buena persona. No solo me invitó a comer, sino que también me ayudó a organizar mis apuntes. Pero entonces me dijo que el tema que había elegido ya lo habían tratado en muchas tesis anteriores de la Academia Zhongli. A menos que escriba una tesis excepcional, no creo que me den el visto bueno. Soraya me aconsejó que cambiara la perspectiva. Por ejemplo, puede escribir sobre algo relacionado con los elementos. Pero como no tengo una visión, no puedo usar los elementos. No tengo ni idea de por dónde empezar. Así que no me quedó más remedio que venir a la ciudad a probar suerte y ver si puedo encontrar algún material útil por aquí. Espera. Cuando me salvaste luchaste de una manera realmente única. ¿Por casualidad no tendrás una visión? No, no la tengo. ¿Qué? ¿Puedes luchar así sin una visión? ¿Cómo es posible? Olvídalo, seguro que es una historia muy larga y complicada. En cualquier caso, me gustaría pedirte algo. ¿Podrías mostrarme tu forma de luchar? Quizás encuentre algo que pueda usar para mejorar mi tesis. Por favor, ayúdame. Si no termino esta tesis, estaré acabada cuando regrese a la cama. Bueno. Muchas gracias, vayamos a ver entonces. Recuerdo haber visto un grupo de healers alrededor de esta zona. Úsalos como objetivo para mostrarme tu estilo de combate. Sí, que no lo voy a hacer en este momento, la verdad. Es como dicen, el trabajo nunca disminuye, siempre hay más y más. ¿Ocurre algo? Después de la tormenta, las cosas en la ciudad regresan lentamente a la normalidad. Pensé que podríamos relajarnos un poco cuando terminara, pero no imaginé que, además de las labores de vigilancia y otras tareas diarias, también nos han transferido a otros departamentos para ayudar de vez en cuando. Ahora estamos más ocupados que nunca con este desorden. Me llamaron para ayudar a recolectar y organizar los documentos conforme llegan y después tengo que ir a patrullar alrededor de la ciudad y escoltar una caravana. Sin mencionar que un residente nos informó hace unos días de unos terremotos que ocurren cerca de Nantianmen. Enviamos gente a inspeccionar, pero no encontraron nada en particular. Pero como tuvo lugar un terremoto, no podíamos bajar la guardia, así que enviamos a alguien a inspeccionar el área de vez en cuando. Sin embargo, últimamente estamos escasos de personal viajero. Si tienes tiempo, podrías ir a ver cómo están los hombres de la montaña Nantianmen. Entendido. Gracias. Yo tengo que hacer otras cosas. Me queda faltando una más por recibir. Este man está por acá. Y fan. De repente a todo el mundo le interesa la historia. ¿Ocurre algo? Últimamente mucha gente se está interesando en la historia de Lidia y muchos de ellos han venido a mi tienda a comprar libros. Antes nos habría llevado medio año vender las pocas copias que teníamos de la obra Jaxtas, los guardianes adeptos. Así que dejé de importar libros de historia tan complicados de entender. Pero tras lo sucedido recientemente en Liyue, la gente de toda la ciudad vino a comprar libros de historia. Estos últimos días ha habido muchos clientes que querían específicamente libros sobre las historias de Rex Lapis. No sé si es que realmente les gusta leer o si solo quieren tener temas de los que hablar con la gente. Debido al aumento de la demanda, casi no he tenido tiempo de atender algunos pedidos de antiguos clientes. Encontré algo de tiempo para preparar los libros que pidieron 2 de esos clientes, pero estoy demasiado ocupado para salir de la tienda en este momento. Podría llevar este ejemplar de Versos de Equilibrium al tío Tian y este de Rex Incógnito. Eso es 4. Creo que es 4. Al burgués Dim. De acuerdo. Muchas gracias. Hicieron los pedidos hace mucho tiempo, pero justo ahora acabo de empezar a preparar los libros. Debería estar bastante impacientes. Hay tantos clientes de repente que no sé cómo hacer. Más. No, eso no es lo que voy a hacer. De hecho, iba a ir... ¿Qué es esto? Otra misión más. Bueno, me gusta eso, pero es porque me abren ya más misiones. Lo que no me gusta realmente es que... Esto lo hago después. Pues si las misiones, solamente voy a recoger la información y ya después hago las misiones. Sí, porque tengo que subir a... ¿Cómo es que llaman? La reputación de Liyue. Ay, ¿cómo voy a darle de comer? ¿Ocurre algo? Estoy pensando en cómo dar de comer al perrito que me encontré. El abuelo dijo que había mucho caos en la ciudad y no me dejó ir a darle comida. Dice que ahora todo está bien, pero que ha estado demasiado ocupado para llevarme hasta allí. Hace mucho que no damos de comer a ese perrito. Espero que no se haya muerto de hambre. El abuelo dice que los cachorros pueden encontrar comida por sí mismos, pero estoy preocupada. Viajero, ¿podrías acompañarme a las puertas de la ciudad para darle de comer? Está bien. Muy bien, gracias. ¿Qué come? El abuelo suele ser quien le prepara la comida. Creo que le da carne de ave. ¿Podrías ayudarme a conseguir un trozo de carne de ave? Dé prisa, por favor, no quiero que pase hambre. Creo que con estos documentos servirán. ¿Ocurre algo? Ah, eres tú. ¿Viste lo que pasó en Liyue? Cierto, nos dio un buen susto a todos. Pensé que la ciudad seguiría un tiempo en un estado de caos, pero por suerte el orden se restauró rápidamente. Las 7 estrellas de Liyue son realmente increíbles, pero no sé si para estabilizar la situación o que el Ministerio de Asuntos Civiles ha publicado una gran cantidad de boletines y normas nuevos. Deseo seguir haciendo negocios aquí, así que llevo unos cuantos días haciendo trámites y entregando los formularios de solicitud necesarios. Pero la recepcionista Xiao dijo que también tengo que solicitar una nueva licencia de negocio y que estuviera atento a los avisos oficiales. Llevo varios días yendo de acá para allá. Aún no he terminado algunos trámites y ya no me queda energía para, además, revisar los boletines oficiales. Viajero, podría revisar el tablón de anuncios y ver si hay alguna noticia sobre las nuevas licencias de negocio. Ok. Es que me está hablando de esta parte del hombre, entonces por eso que está entendido. Gracias, aventurero. Y lo siento, estoy totalmente exhausto. Sé que no está lejos de aquí, pero este tipo de tareas me hacen sentir doblemente agotado que haciendo cualquier otra cosa. Si ves alguna noticia relacionada con las nuevas licencias de negocio, cópiala y tráemela. Cuento contigo. Bueno, imagino que ya por acá no hay más misiones secundarias. Ya vamos a pasar por aquí. ¿De cuánto me queda faltando para subir al nivel 40? Pero creo que ya me falta poco. Creo que podemos hacer esta misión dependiendo si no es muy larga, porque ya solamente quedan como 4 minutos. Y el video que grabé ayer, que subí ahorita, es bastante grande, porque sí abarcó mucha parte de la historia, entonces es bastante grande. Grande, yo tengo que comprar comida, pero eso lo hago ahorita. Catherine de Monster.
Traveler, please, over here. It has been a while since you joined the Adventurers Guild. Are your adventures going smoothly?
Estoy reclutando compañeros. Con más compañeros estaría mejor. Estoy reclutando compañeros.
Is that so? Apart from your own skills, reliable teammates are also indispensable when adventuring. Another person to count on is always good after all. But recruiting such dependable companions is no easy matter, is it?
Yep, and it's even harder to get a guide as good as Paimon.
Ah, yes. I do have some information that may be of help to you. Let me consult our records. Ah, there it is. There's been a certain blonde stranger who arrived in Mondstadt lately, dressed in most unusual clothes.
Blonde. Dress is all funny. It feels like Paimon's heard this one before.
Hermana.
Wait, do you mean...
¿Será posible?
Does that stranger's face look anything like his?
Like the honorary knights? No, they couldn't look more different. This stranger is a very tall man, and even has an eye patch.
Debe ser un familiar de Kaya.
Seriously? How does this have anything to do with Kaya? Eye patches can't prove that you're related anyway.
Ah, uno nunca sabe.
That stranger declined the guild's invitation, so I can't say that I know anything about the relationship between him and Mr. Kaya. Nonetheless, you can look for him if you're interested. Perhaps he might accept your commission instead. After all, it is not uncommon for some adventurers to not want to be limited by the guild, but be happy to accept a fellow adventurer's requests. And should the stranger be a strong adventurer indeed, he would certainly be a big help on your journey.
Así que ya rechazó al gremio. Puede que sea una persona difícil de tratar.
Please don't talk down on yourself like that. You are the honorary knight of the Knights of Favonius, after all. Your deeds are the stuff of song for all the bards in the city, even now.
De acuerdo, entonces sobre ese extraño.
Well, as to further news about him, you may want to ask Mr. Lawrence. He stands guard at the city gate, so you may know something about that stranger. I wish you every success, adventurer.
Dainsleif. Bueno, vamos a ir a hablar con este tipejo, hablamos con él y ya lo que nos diga y mañana continuamos.
Honorary knight. Is something the matter?
Estoy buscando a un forastero con un parche en el ojo.
A stranger with an eye patch. Let me think. Oh yeah, I remember seeing someone like that. A blonde stranger dressed in unusual garb. He was wandering all over Mondstadt at first, which I found rather suspicious. So I decided to keep an eye on him for a while. I lost him pretty quickly. Still, I didn't think that this was such a huge matter that we needed our outrider to pursue him by air. As long as Master Jean is here, there's nothing to fear from some suspicious, unusual-looking person.
That might be true, But if it were up to Jean, she'd take this way more seriously.
That is true. But on the other hand, knowing that Master Jean may overreact to the situation is all the more reason to not tell her, no? Anyways, he was at Wagner's smithy for a while before I tried tailing him. He might have said something to Wagner. You should go ask him. Maybe he has more news about our stranger.
Me van a tener de un lado para otro, ya lo vi. Y vamos a ir allí. Y ya después de esto sí finalizamos.
What? You need something?
Estoy buscando un forastero con un parche en el ojo.
I remember him. He showed up a few days ago asking to buy a bunch of forging materials. Can't say I've heard of any of the materials he mentioned, though. He then had a look at the weapons in my shop before leaving. I've heard that he can be found drinking at the Angel's Share. If the Knights of the Guild want to get hold of him, that's the only place to be.
The Angel's Share? Well, Master Diluc probably has his eye on that stranger too, then.
Pues es que nos tienen de un lado para otro. Es un poco fastidioso, la verdad. Pero bueno, nada. Dije que lo voy a dejar por hasta acá y ya. Ok, mi gente, les envío a todos un abrazo súper fuerte y nos vemos mañana. Bye, mi gente.